Hey.
Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor, and I am so excited to have you on the show today. So today I'm having a guest, and so this is my wicked smart man today, Bob LaChance. So you are wicked smart today, you didn't even know it. And we call this session Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. And as you know, for my loyal listeners, we ask lots of questions and we just kind of dive in and we try to get to know people and what they're thinking and what they're doing and just, kind of what's happening. More about them than specifically about their business because you can find them all over the place, I'm certain. The motto here at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that resonates with you, you're at the right place. I'm your right person, and today is your right guest. So Bob, welcome to the show today.
Well, Dwayne, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
And Dwan. It's okay.
Dwanderful.
Yes, Dwanderful. I have people call me Dwayne,
because I've seen you speak
people
before.
add syllables.
Yeah.
Dawn, and it's like, oh my God. So I thought, well, Dwanderful.
I've seen you speak before, and you've been called both of them. So
I
should ask you before.
Everything. So I thought, you know what? I think Dwanderful is
wonderful. Very good. It is.
It's almost easier. At least if you just mix it up and say wonderful, it's like, oh, that's right. Okay. So we'd like to start off with a toast. So I am having tea and I think you are having coffee.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So cheers. Thank you for being on my show today.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
And my cup says, embrace every challenge.
Very nice. Very nice.
I have
take a deep breath. Bass Pro Shop.
Take a deep breath, take a stretch, clear your mind, and get ready. And we're going to have some fun today. Are these from the Bass Pro Shop?
This is, yep.
Oh, yours. I was like, seriously? I got this.
I think yours could be too, because they have some cool ones there as well. Yeah.
I got it from Target. I don't know where else, but I was like, oh, embrace every challenge. That seems fitting. And I got to tell you, I love the Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, it is good. They got a lot of good stuff.
Everything. They have little restaurants. I mean, they have, like, we have one that's like 2 blocks away from here. And I'm telling you, it has everything. You wouldn't think it'd be like a fun store to go in, but oh my gosh, it's like, you don't even know where to look. They have so much stuff in there.
Absolutely. Just got a boat from there, so it's good.
Yeah. Oh, you did? You got a boat? What kind of boat did you get?
It was just a little 16, I think it's 20-foot little bass boat. So
nice. You like to fish?
Yeah, my kids do.
And where do you live that you guys fish now?
I live in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where does the person fish?
On a lake called Highland Lake. It's
nice.
In Winsted, Connecticut. Yep.
What do you fish for up there?
They bass. They got some perch. They have trout in there. So
nice.
Pretty good little selection.
Yeah, my dad still, he doesn't go now, but up until a few years ago, he doesn't live that far from Lake Erie. And they had like a little trailer park on the lake there for people to park mobile homes and stuff that they keep them there all winter, and they fish there. And they always fish for walleye. So we'd go up there and have walleye and hush puppies. It's like, oh my God. Walleye and hush puppies is so good. I love fishing. I grew up fishing. They called me the catfish queen because I would always catch catfish.
How'd you get them off the hook, though? How'd you get them off the hook?
No, I never learned how to fish. Every time I fished with anybody, I would catch stupid catfish or a carp or something. I was like, what is that? So I have actually never learned how to properly fish. So then as I got older, I was like, I'm going to lay on the boat and have some wine. I'll tan, and you all fish your hearts out, and I'll be over here rooting for you. So that's kind of how it worked out over the years. So, all right, well, I'm super happy you're on today. So what we like to do is we like you to just tell us who you are, how we get in touch with you, because I want all your info in the show notes, and like a brief summary of what you do, like brief. And I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and see how you got to be where you're at today. So
All
we
right.
just want to know, like, what's your deal?
What's my deal? I have a virtual assistant company out of the Philippines, started 2014. I also have a real estate investment company. We did 160 transactions last year. We're set to do over 220 this year. So I use all my virtual assistants in my own business. Started investing in 2004, played professional hockey for 8 years prior to that. Helped start a couple different coaching programs, education programs. I used to sell on stage, and we created a short sale product back in the day. So that's what I used to do. And then fast forward today, I'm running 2 successful businesses, which is, my virtual assistant company and my real estate investment company. Is that quick enough?
That was quick. Yeah, because I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about how you got there. So I just want people to because some people just listen for like the first 10 minutes of a podcast to see if they're interested in the guest. Yeah. I like the guest to just kind of tell us who you are and how do we get in touch with you?
Yep. You can send me an email, Bob at REVA Global, REVA Global.com. You can check out our website, REVAglobal.com. Again, REVA Global.com. We're online all over the place on Instagram, Facebook, etc.
Nice. And what does REVA stand for?
Real estate investor VA, a real estate virtual assistant.
Nice. So Bob at REVAglobal.com. Okay. I love it. And you're on Instagram and Facebook and all the stuff.
All that stuff. Yep.
Everybody can find you in all the places. Okay. Nice. So, because, people listen to different shows. And so one of the things people know about me is, I'm sure you've been on a lot of podcasts. Sometimes people are like, send me your 10 questions. I know what to talk to you about. And so I never take the questions because the questions are the same for everybody. And so I feel like if I have everyone send me their questions, and if they see you on my show or the other show, they're like, oh, Bob always says the same thing. But my people know if they see you on my show, we're going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff.
Cool.
So that's why I'm like, I don't want questions. I don't want bios. I don't want all that stuff. I don't need all that stuff. I just want to talk and have a nice conversation.
That means you're quick. That's why I like it. You're quick.
And I just want to get to know my new friend Bob and see how we can help each other and grow each other's businesses and we're trying to keep the whole REA thing going. Okay, so I'm going to just jump real quick. So you said you had a short sale program. So I have to just jump over there for a second. So tell me about that.
So I had one. Let's rephrase. Sorry, I must have misspoke. I had one. This is back in 2000. When did we create it? I think it was 2005, 2006. It was called the Short Sale Flagship System. And I was actually going to different REAs and selling it, at REA groups. I'm part of Connecticut Real Estate Association here in Connecticut. So that's what I was doing. Took us a little while to create it. We created all the scripts just like you did, all the everything that we created. My business partner, you might know Pat Precourt. I don't know if you know the name Patrick Precourt. So he was my business partner for 10 years. And one thing he taught me when I first started in 2004 is, so listen, everything you do, you have to document everything. Like one day you could sell it. So started documenting from day one. And then, then we just, we're like, all right, let's start selling this thing. So that's kind of how we got started with it.
You copied me. No.
Yep. Exactly. Hey, you're the best, right? You got to copy the best. You have to copy the best. Well, you know what?
Way back when I started doing them, it was totally by accident when I did my first one, because they weren't really a thing yet. It wasn't a thing. So I wrote a little program that was only 50 pages. It was really short back in I don't even know, 94 or 5 or something, and sold it. And I trademarked it and copywrote it and all stuff like that. So I actually wrote the very first short sale program that was ever introduced to the investors. And then I trademarked it. So I have a trademark on short sales as it applies to real estate investing. And I was like, yes, I'm the short sale queen. So when I find out someone else is doing them, I'm always really excited. Because, it's a really great asset of the business and they're super coming back right now.
Yep, 100%.
A lot of, when the markets are super, super good, the banks aren't always as willing to take half of the value. But I've talked to a couple of my loss stream mitigators lately, and they're like, listen, the banks literally, they don't want to get rid of any house that only has a 2 or 3% interest rate, because they want to lend that money back out at 6% or whatever, 6.7 or whatever it's going to be. So I have personally met with 2 homeowners in the last week, and the bank wouldn't even open or consider a loan modification or forbearance or anything. They're like, no, you have a 2% interest rate. We can lend the money back out at a higher amount. We're taking your house. And I'm just like, man, they're being brutal right now.
Yeah. Hey, but it's dollars and cents, right? If you look at how the economy is going, that's just, you nailed it, right?
Yeah,
it's good to know. That's some great info.
Yeah. And I'm talking to this woman right now, this poor woman. She's 64, her husband's 84, and but now they haven't made a payment for 25 months. She's like, I don't understand why the bank won't work with me. It's like, well, you haven't made a payment for 25 months, and neither of you are working. And so she's all like, you know how people blame the bank. It's
I know.
It's not the bank. I mean, you literally aren't working, neither of you. And you jumped into that nationwide forbearance agreement. Now you're $2,600, 26 payments behind, or 24 or 26 at $1,900 a payment. And the bank said no.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we just want the money back because they've got a super low interest rate. So I don't think I've ever seen a time where banks are quite as aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think? Are you finding that?
So I agree. We have not run into. Like I said, we're doing business in Connecticut. We're in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Arkansas, Alabama, and a couple other states. I have not seen that yet. I have not run into it yet. We're actually still seeing where there's enough equity in properties to where we make a good cash offer and still buy them and resell them and make money. I have not seen that yet, but I 100% agree that it is definitely coming. And that's a great thing to tell everybody and educate people on. Look at the interest rate to see if the bank will take a discount or not, or take the property back. That's really good.
The bank rep literally said, this is the 2.1% interest, and I can get that money and lend that back out at 6%. We're taking the house. Yep. I was like, damn. I don't know if I've ever had a bank like literally say those words to me like that. Yeah. I was like, all right, so y'all are not playing anymore. We'll just see about that. But, it was just a little bit surprising because banks aren't usually, I mean, some of the people that we know tell us what's happening. But this was just a bank I called with a homeowner to try to help her out. And, I kind of let her start realizing the realization. It's like, listen, the bank's not working with you. And they said that just straight point blank. And I was like, aggressive much?
Yeah.
Dang. So, but you know what? I told people, I'm sure you did too. Back when that whole COVID thing, the whole big forbearance started, I told people, I'm like, listen, do not do that. If you can make your mortgage payments, make your payments, because this is going to bite everybody in the ass. It sounds like a good idea right now, but in 2 years, it's going to bite everybody. And I knew hundreds of people. No, I'm not going to make my payments, and they didn't make them.
Even some very smart people, right? Some very, very smart people saying, "Hey, I'm going to try to beat the system," and I agree with you. It's going to come back, and it is coming back right now.
Bill and I we have a house in Florida as well as the one here in Colorado. So in Florida, we live, and here we live on 10 acres in the mountains. So we're like in the mountains, you can't even see the neighbors. But in our house in Florida, it's in a gated community. So so we were in Florida when lockdown. So it's like, okay, good. We'll lock down in Florida. This will be great. I'll paddleboard. We'll go to the beach. This will be wonderful. And so the whole forbearance thing started on the news. And then I told Bill, I said, look at this. So we went out one day. I drove my whole neighborhood and took pictures. Within a couple of weeks of that happening, all these people started getting these big screen TVs delivered to their house. And people were getting new appliances. And people were getting new furniture and just putting stuff on the curb for like the big, claw pickup. And I drove around. I said, every one of these people right here, they're all going to lose their house.
Right.
I never saw, it looked like Christmas in the neighborhood for like 2 months. I was like, wow, what is wrong with people? Like, do they not understand like the bigger picture here? But they don't. And that's,
they don't.
That's how it goes. But I never saw so many furniture and TVs. I mean, TVs like giant stadium stuff. Oh, and just boxes and boxes and boxes. I was like,
oh, it's a piggy bank. Their house is a piggy bank at one time or another, right? That's what they look at.
It was really, and sadly, a bunch of those people are in foreclosure right now. So, but it sounded like a good idea, and people do. I'm gonna beat the system, I figure it out, and then now they're like, shit, shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Sorry. I try not to curse, but sometimes it just falls on.
I'm okay with cursing. I came from a hockey locker room, so trust me, I'm good.
I love the fact. So you played hockey. So did you play like professional hockey?
I did. I went to Boston University. We won a national championship there, which is pretty cool. And then I got drafted by St. Louis Blues. I played in their organization for 2 years, and I played 2 more years in the U.S., and I played in Europe for 4 years.
Nice. The Colorado Avalanche, we just won the hockey championship.
Yes, you did. Very good.
I watched it because I am the person that likes all the sports as in playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs are the best. I agree. Playoffs are the best. Yeah.
But when it gets to the playoffs, I watch all of them because that's when people are really playing their best game. These are the best teams. Like, this is it, win or lose. So all the sports, I watch everything once it gets to the playoffs. So people are always surprised, like I know who won things. It's like, yes, Avalanche. I was watching that game. It was mayhem in Denver.
It was.
It was
It
fun
was
though.
incredible. Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think our team's ever won before.
They did back a while back. I believe they did. I think it was back. I could be wrong, but I think Ray Bork, back in Ray Bork, when he played from the Bruins, he moved to Bruins to Colorado. I do have to fact check myself, but I do believe that they won it. So
I don't know. I just thought that this time it was really a big deal. Like people were going to the bars and the restaurants and watching, and it was on the news like daily. And it was really a bigger deal than any time before that. I was like, wow, okay, I'm gonna watch hockey. So that's my only hockey fact I have.
Very good. It looks like they won 3 times. They won in 96, 2001, and 22. I just Googled
I didn't move here till 2002 when I married Bill. So I think prior to that, I would have been watching what was happening in Florida. So that is like my single hockey fact right there. That's all I know. They just know we won. All right. So how old are you? Do you mind if I ask?
I don't mind at all. I'm 48.
48. You're still a pup. All right. So I always like to ask people, kind of what they were doing like before. So before you became, first of all, tell me a little bit more about this company. So you have VA assistance. So do you offer this as a service to like investors or people in any type of job, or are you specific to investing?
Yeah, majority of the individuals that are underneath our umbrella, we have a real estate. So any real estate professional in any medical kind of field. So real estate professional, since obviously there's a podcast, we'll talk about that. We have a marketing company, I think, that has about 30 something of our VAs, but mostly on the real estate side, doing different tasks, cold calling, text messaging, inbound calls, social media management, following up, all the stuff that makes you money in your real estate business. So that's what we offer. We have trained virtual assistants that are trained for about a month long, and we have a whole recruiting team. All my virtual assistants are in the Philippines, just to let you know where they're all out of. I started my first company in 2014, my virtual assistant company in 2014. So
nice. Now I actually work with a virtual assistant company, and they're all from the Philippines too.
Yep.
And
very good.
They're awesome, and I love them.
Awesome. Very good. Very good.
I didn't do that until more recent because I still am that mindset like I can figure it all out. I can do it. I can, but it's like, I really feel like, I don't know. For me anyway, I know a lot of investors that really try to kind of do everything.
Yeah.
Or they try to have someone in their office, and that one person, they have them doing like all the things. Mm-hmm. And I find that with the VAs, you can have like, this one is good on social media, and this one is good for podcasting, and this one's good for that. And you can really have a full team that's not paying everybody 40 hours a week. And there's, however many are on your team, and they're all each good at that thing.
Yeah, you know what I found? This, you get burnt out in this business. I literally, when I jumped in this business, I door knocked for a year straight from literally 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Monday through Friday. I got a pre-foreclosure list, and I would door knock and go door to door to door to door. And then I would go home. I would skip trace those same leads or those same records to get the best phone number, and then I would call for another 2 hours. So this is on a daily basis. Well, guess what? If you're not door knocking or cold calling, your phone's not ringing, your leads stop. So I realize that you got to remove yourself. No matter what, you have to remove yourself. Today's day and age of the lone wolf investor or agent or broker or whatever it is, or business owner is in the past right now. So you need a team to help you get better at what you do and make more money. Invest.
I agree. And I've been telling people since like day one, like real estate investing is a team sport. You need a real estate and an investor-friendly real estate agent. You need a title company. You need a mortgage broker. You need a home inspector. You need some hard money lenders. You need other investors that sell houses too if you want to wholesale. Like you really need a team. And I find a lot of people, just like you said, they just want to be the lone wolf and they want to do it all. But dang, if you're doing all of it by yourself, you don't have a minute.
Nope, you don't. And if you want to think about this, if you want to go, I don't know, take your kids, grandkids, whatever, to fishing or golfing, or I coach my kids' sports, so I don't want to miss anything. So if I'm out of the office, the money would stop if you don't have those other players in place. So it's really important. A lot of people don't look at it this way.
They don't. And I was really guilty of that. I've been investing for like 33 years at this point. But it took me, I'm not even joking. It took me probably 7 or 8 years to start delegating because
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's all done right. I'm the only one that can do it all right. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit of a control freak. So delegating is actually a task for me because I'm just like, okay, I gotta let this go.
Well,
This
I
is
think
so
it's
much.
actually getting easier now because minimum wage in everyone's area is going higher and higher and higher. So it is a lot easier to delegate because it's either delegate to a virtual assistant as an example, or hire somebody that's going to take a lot of your profits. So
Yeah.
you're either, which one are you going to do? Right?
Yeah. They do. And if you hire anyone that's like decent, they're not gonna work for $10 an hour.
Correct. Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's
Anyone
like,
here? Think about this. If you look for someone with a 4-year college degree, they're not working for $10 an hour because it's under minimum wage. Majority of
no,
places,
they're
right? They're going to
not.
be looking for 20, 30, 40, whatever that looks like.
And then you have to train them to do what they need to do. So now I'm all in. I'm all in on
Yeah.
the whole virtual assistant thing. So tell me how you guys did 160 deals last
So
year,
I have a,
right? Last
yep,
year?
this year. Yeah. So I have a real estate business partner here. We also have, we just hired a sales manager. I think I could be off by the number of acquisition reps that we have. I think we're at about 6 acquisition reps. I have probably 10 plus virtual assistants that are working, driving leads. We have a transaction coordinator, a disposition manager, and an office manager. So with that team, like we just talked about, we have my VAs driving all of the leads in, pre-screening all the leads, and then passing them off to our acquisition team. So
Nice.
it's a team sport.
It is a team sport. And then do you primarily like do wholesale? Do you keep? Do you buy and hold? What do you primarily do for like you?
So for me personally, we actually were buying the hold. We had, I think, 25 to 27 doors, and then the market was at its height. And my business partner and I said, what the hell are we doing? Why don't we sell these? Because we're going to make a ton of money and the market will go down. Interest rates go up, market goes down. So I said, why don't we just stack cash? So we actually used those. We were going to buy and hold those, sold them all. We also wholesale where we fund them out and list them on the MLS. We also do some creative stuff as well. So and we do a couple of rehabs here and there.
So you guys do a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I always tell
you
people,
said
like,
you. Oh, sorry.
no, you go.
So you said something at the beginning, and you said, you're talking about short sales, and you're talking about, it's really, you look at it, if you have a tool belt on, you need to be able to make money in different times right there. So for you nailed it, and you're 100% right on learning how to do short sales, because there's gonna be another time where you need that skill set.
Yeah, and I always tell people, because you and I both, we always meet new people, we coach people, we talk to people, we do all stuff like that. And people, where should I start? And like, I went to a rehab seminar. I'm going to be a rehabber. And they're like, oh no, I went to a multifamily. I'm going to buy 100 unit. And then they're like, oh, I want to wholesale. And they just jump all over the fence. It's like, listen, wholesale a few houses, get some cash, like you said, get some cash in your bank.
That's right.
Give yourself a cushion. And then look around and see what it is you think you might be interested in.
Yep, I agree.
I mean people that are like, I'm going to buy a 100-unit building with this person I just met last week. It's like, do you really think that's the first deal that you should do out of the gate? Like the first one, really? You think that's where you should start? So I'm all about that too. People need to get cash and then think about it.
Well, it's kind of funny you say it, because you could tell when you talk to someone that's been in the business for a long time, and you hear the first time you hear, well, I just want to get in apartment buildings. I'm like, you don't know anything about it. You have to learn how to actually do it before you just, because if you throw your money into something, there's more people that I know that lost in commercial than any other kind of asset class, right? Yep. Oh, I just met you, but I'm going to give you $200,000 that I worked all my life to actually make. Or am I actually going to borrow hard money to a single family house that's worth 100 grand? I only need to put 20 grand into it. Which one is a better risk? Which one's a better bet? I don't know.
Amen. I know. I'm nothing against like the big multifamily, none of that. I love them all. The Rod Cleep was just in town a few weeks ago, and my kids all went there, and they're like, oh, we want to buy 100 unit. I'm like, but do you really want to do that? So it's all exciting. I mean, all of it's exciting. I love real estate all the way around. Yep. I think it's all exciting. But
I invest in syndications too, though. So I also do. But it was along the line. I had to learn about it. Yeah.
We learned about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, is like we learned about it. We didn't just go, like you said, here's my entire life savings, let's buy a building. And then if you lose it, you lose it all. And then, I mean people all the time like, oh, I lost my life savings doing a deal. Real estate sucks. It's like, usually it's you. It's not real estate sucks. It's usually the deal that you did was
Sure.
not good, but nobody wants to take personal responsibility.
Correct.
You want to blame it on the other guy. And it's like, nah. So I know. So, but it's good. But so I love what you did because I am 100% agreeing with all of that. It is a team. You do need people. There's so many things you can do virtual now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Yep.
so different than it was way back in the day. So when you were like, let's go back a little bit. Let's find out who Bob was. So when you were like 13, 14, 15, where were you living? What were you doing? Like what was that kid like?
Well, I was the youngest of three boys. So I live with my dad, who was a contractor who, he was kind of a struggling contractor, working his butt off, late 80s, beat him up pretty bad. But I also worked for him growing up. So I was more of a gopher. He had me go for this, go for that, go for everything. I was driving when I was 14. So I would have to be driving on the highway. I'd be picking up, nails, wood, whatever I needed to do for the, for that framing contract that he was working on. So I played a lot of sports. Like I said, I'm the youngest of three boys. Both of my brothers played hockey and every other sport out there. My middle brother was number 4 in the world draft pick in ice hockey, so he wasn't too bad.
Ah, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah. So I had a couple, I had some great brothers to look up to. So that was just a little bit about me. I was very competitive. No matter what I played, I wanted to win. So I think sports helps, with business. When you look back and you say, all right, what does it attribute to what, if you call success, whatever your definition of success is. I think a lot of it goes back to sports and how you're brought up and, allowed to do, not allowed to do, all that kind of good stuff.
No, I do too. I believe that too. I mean, I graduated high school in the 70s. So I was a teenager in the 70s and my parents were strict. And we had a lot of freedom because we lived in the country, but we also had a lot of rules. And
Yep.
kids today are just like, they're just, oh my God, it's like, who's raising these kids today?
Oh, they're getting raised by the phone. It's awful. They wake up in the morning, they're on their phone, and
I don't
think about that. You get, whatever message it is really just channeling them into what they're going to be.
into other things. So when you were young, so you were working, did your dad pay you? You were working?
He did. Yep. He was always really good at that. You put an hour in, he's going to pay you.
Nice.
As kids, he probably overpaid us, but he taught us a work ethic and grew up blue collar. Now I always laugh about this with my buddies. I'm like, and all the kids that I coach right now in hockey, I'm like, we all grew up blue collar. That's probably the way we are. Unfortunately, our kids now are white collar, and it's like, oh, what do we do? And we want them to go back and just be blue collar again. But unfortunately, that's our
I
game.
grew up blue collar too. And it's funny though, every single person I've interviewed that's successful, at whatever they're doing now, all of them when they were young, they were working.
Right.
Everyone, like 100% of people. I've had one person was like, "Oh no, I just hung out. My dad gave me money. I didn't do anything." Everybody worked. So I think too that for those of us that did work as teens, and maybe the
Mm-hmm.
sports. I mean, I was in the country, so we didn't have sports. We had like horses and
Yep.
that kind of stuff. Rode our bikes and that kind of stuff. But I find that every single person, I have not interviewed a single person like, "Oh yeah, I just hung out in the summers. I went to camp and I didn't do anything. I didn't work."
Mm-hmm.
I think the people that started working younger, and they could, you're young, you get money, you can go to the movies, you can go do stuff, you can go skating, you can go do the things that you can have your own money. And I'm thinking not talk to anyone. I've been doing my podcast like 4 years, like nobody was just hanging out in the summer.
Yep. I agree. And I see the same exact thing. It's pretty interesting. First time I ever thought about that is when you said it, and you are 100% right.
Yeah. Because I started asking that question, I'm always just like curious, like what people were like when they were young. Like, were you wild? Were you good? Were you sneaking out of the house? So that was like a little combination of all. I was really good in front of my adults, but I was like sneaking out of the house, behind. But I made straight A's. As long as I made straight A's and I was where I was supposed to be, my parents didn't worry about me that much. It was terrible. But I still worked. And so I'm always curious what other people were like. And I've talked to all kinds of people from every part of the world. And all of them were working when they were young. So I think it does. I think it's like you said, the kids are on phones and stuff so much now.
Mm-hmm.
You make them work when they're young and you get them like, hey, if you want something, you have to work for it. I'm not giving you money. Then they learn like, okay, if I want things, I have to work. And if I don't work, I don't get anything. My parents won't hand it to me. So then they learn that they need to work.
Right. I agree.
But I don't know. You're right. These kids today are like on the phone, like, they get a beep in the middle of the night. Oh my God, someone text me. Like, seriously?
I know. Now that I don't get good sleep, now there's just we could go on for days in fact with this topic.
My kids are all in their 30s. So they're 31, 33, 35. So they're all millennials. But even so they started having phones kind of at like the end of their high school years. But at night, I had a little basket. I mean, put all their phones and all their
Great
stuff,
idea.
everything was in. You go into bed and you go into bed because they were starting to not sleep good. And I realizing they're on their phones. It's like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So do you have
Great
like
idea.
a favorite memory of that time of your life?
I traveled a lot with my father going to hockey. So for me, it was windshield time, spending a lot of windshield time with my parents, and just going away to hockey tournaments. That was a huge part of me growing up and a lot of my memories.
That's nice. Okay, so now you're a little older. Let's say you're like 20, 25.
Yeah.
So you're playing sports then. Like you're not really thinking about working for yourself yet, right? You're still like, that's it. I'm the athlete. And when did you start having that shift? Like, okay, I have my parents. I was a hockey player. I want to be in business for myself. Like, where did that mindset start with you?
So, late 80s, I'll never forget this. The late 80s when the market took a tank, and my father was looking for jobs. He was a framer, he was a contractor, and no one would hire him for 2 years. And my mother had to go back to work. I think I could be off by the 2 years mark, but it seemed like 2 years when I was a kid.
No, that's
And so my mother started bagging groceries at the time, and now she was the breadwinner growing up. Now I have a proud Canadian father, right? So that was a very, light bulb went on. I said, you know what? I'm going to fast forward whenever I'm an adult. No matter what, if I could work in McDonald's and pay all of my taxes and never have to lose my house, that is what I want to do, because we had to sell our house when we were younger. My dad went through bankruptcy, etc. So I was like, right then and there, I think I was like,
then?
I was either 14, 15, I think, maybe 16, could be around then. So anyway, it was interesting. So that light bulb went on back then. I'm like, all right, make sure that doesn't happen. So for me personally, I think it was back then, because if you own your own business or you own multiple businesses, you control it more than working for someone. And someone, if their business goes down, it's not my fault. Their business goes down, I go down with them. So if I run my own business, I have more control. That's the thought process.
No, I love that, because there's always every one of us has a point where some light bulb went off. We're like, this is what we should be doing. This is what we're doing. This is what we saw. This is what we don't want to happen to us. So I have not met a single entrepreneur that didn't have some kind of a light bulb moment. But it's just interesting how they're all so different, and they're all based on, so many various. Like for me, with being a single mom, I was like, hang on a minute. I have no husband, no house, no car, and I got a kid. What the hell am I going to do? So we all have.
That'll get you motivated. That'll get you working right there.
Well, it did, because now 33 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. So it was a life changer. But everyone has that moment. So that's interesting that you watched your parents go through that, and then you were like, "That's not going to happen to me."
Yep.
So you were young, and you were already thinking that. You just didn't know you're going to end up being like some super successful guy that you are now.
Well, I look at it. It's funny that you say that. Like, I look at success differently. That's why I made a comment before. I'm like, all right, because there's always someone better than you or more successful. Maybe that's the athlete, in me, that I always look at. All right, well, I'm here. Well, guess what? We did 160 transactions. I have 1,000 virtual assistants. Well, guess what? Someone has 2,000. Someone did 250 deals. So I always look at it. I look at it a different way, just it keeps the competitive juices flowing, right? There's no being satisfied, unfortunately. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
I don't know. I'm finding the older I get, I'm way more OCD than I realize. And I'm like, I was like, what's happening to me right now? And it's like that. It's like, well, I want more. It's like, okay, but I'm 63. So like, do I want more or do I not? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, I'm way too young to not be doing that.
Or it's a game, right? Or it's just a game.
Yeah. So it is. It's funny. It is funny how you think that way, because people like, my family's super blue collar. So they're like, when are you going to retire? You're 63 years old. You don't need to be working. It's like, but like, what would I do? I built my company. Yeah. I built my company. I don't want to sit home and watch game shows and go play bingo and.
You need a purpose. You need a purpose anyway, right? You need a purpose. You need something to go for.
So my dad's always like, you need to retire. It's like, Dad, I get you worked for a factory, so I get why you retired, but I built my business. I don't want to retire. This is my baby. This is what I do. And I want my kids and my grandkids. Like, I don't want to,
Right.
so they're always, you need to retire, you need to retire. It's like, oh my God. But I guess they came from factories. So if I worked at a factory, I would be praying for the day I could retire.
Right. Right.
But when you build your own thing, you're like, well, I don't want to give up. This is my baby.
Right. Yeah. You got a purpose.
It's my purpose. So, so I like that. I like that mental transition was sort of like when you were really young. So then I'm assuming like sports and you retired or whatever happened to sports, and that's when you started into the real estate part. Did you go from sports straight to real estate?
Yep. Yeah. Because I actually left school. I went to Boston University for 4 years, and I left 2 classes short because I signed a professional contract 2 classes short of getting my degree, with the idea that, of course, you could always go back. And then every summer, didn't go back. Every summer, next summer. And I always had something in the back of my mind. It was very interesting. I always said, you know what? If I get my degree, I'll have a fallback position. And I'm like, screw that. I'm like, I'm way better when I do not have a fallback position. So me getting a degree would always been like, well, I could go into sales. I could go into this. I could get a job somewhere. But then again, I'd be owned. So I never liked being told what to do, even from my coaches. Unfortunately, now I fast forward today. Of course, I'm a different person, but you learn a lot of stuff while you grow up about yourself. And one of them was, back in the day, I kind of had, butted heads with coaches a little bit, which now I could teach my kids what not to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I tell people all the time, I got fired from almost every job I had in my 20s. Because I would tell people how to run their business better. I would back talk, and I'm like, yes, I want to bargain. And I'm like, but if you would just look at things, like, I don't know, I was able to look at people's businesses and tell them things they were doing wrong, but they don't like that, so they fire you.
Right.
So I was meant to work for myself. I just didn't know it till I was older. But that's funny. But you know what? I agree with you. If you have like you have a fallback. I feel like there's always a little piece of you that doesn't really 100% give because you're like, well, I always should do this. So I never have a plan B. Whatever I do, this is the plan. I don't have another plan. This is the plan.
Well, my new fallback is owning multiple businesses, because if something happens in the economy and something changes, fallback plan is the other business. So that's my new version through my older lens, right? My younger lens didn't have the same lens. So that's my new fallback position. I still have not gone back to get my degree, though.
I never got one either. So I was way too wild to be in college. I tried college for I don't even know, a week. I was way too wild in the 80s. And even it was just not my time. I was wild. So give us one actionable tip. What's an actionable tip that listeners can go, hey, that was really a good tip. That can help me get into real estate investing? What's a good actionable tip to help people kind of on the path?
Well, an actionable tip, if you're on the fence of thinking you could go from something to real estate, I went from the hockey rink with literally, I know I went to school for 4 years, but I didn't learn anything in school. So I went from the hockey rink for 8 years, where you learn how to curse, how to drink beer, how to drink probably vodka, whatever else you can drink. That's what you'll learn in a hockey locker room or after the hockey locker room. And then going from there and being successful in real estate, if I could do it, anybody can do it. I started a podcast called Pucks to Properties, which the whole purpose is that individuals that are playing hockey now know that there's life after a sport. Because, for me personally, anybody I know who played a sport and is done, they go through kind of I call it a lull or depression, whatever it is, because you have your locker room that you've been in there for 20, 30 plus years, and now all of a sudden you're out in the world and you're like, what the hell do I do now? So
it's your family.
That's a purpose. That's why we started.
Pucks to what?
Pucks to Properties.
That is such a great, and of course you're having me on as a guest.
Of course. Did you play hockey?
No, but I could talk about properties. But Perfect. You know what? You're right. It's so funny because my husband and I were just talking about that last night, about some of these athletes that, like football players and basketball and hockey, whatever. Yeah. And then when they're in that period where they, it's over, so many of them have never been taught how to handle money or manage money. And they made $80 million and they're dead broke.
It's awful.
It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I always am like, man, all these people that are in sports, they need to have some sort of mandatory, like you need to learn how to handle your money because you can't play sports till you're 90. I mean, maybe if you're a golfer, but all the other sports, you're too beat up at some point. You can't do it. And all these people, they you see them and they're like bankrupt. It's like, but you made so much money. How's that possible?
Right. Well, I mean, people don't think about this. Even if you make $40 million, right? Let's say 50% is gone in taxes wherever you live, right? No matter what, it's gone in taxes. So now you got 20 million. Now you're paying for every one of your relatives. Now all of a sudden that's 10 million. You buy a house, now you have 2 million left. As an example. I know being exaggerating, but that's how that goes. And it never stops because you never think that this will end. You never think that this time will end.
You don't. And even as a real estate investor, when I first started out, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this forever, wholesale or whatever. And then it's like markets change. And then like, okay, well, wait a minute. I wasn't prepared for this market. So now I got to learn something else. And and you do. When you're in something like that, you feel like it's never going to end. So it's so fun. I don't know who we're talking about. It's one of a basketball player or somebody that we know. And it's like, gosh darn, man. So we've actually met a few people here in Denver that used to play for the Broncos and stuff that are like invest with us now because they don't know what to do with their money. So, all right. So let's I'm going to ask you this. What's your favorite band of all time?
Favorite band? Well, now it's a country. I'll say Luke Combs right now.
Oh, Luke Combs. Okay. I like country.
Yep.
I didn't like it for a long time. I grew up, my dad was a major bluegrass. And I was like, Hank Williams Sr., like diehard bluegrass. I was like, I hate that music. But then as I got older, I appreciate it. But then I started listening to country, and I'm a big country fan now. I love country music.
Me too.
So, yeah, Luke Combs is awesome. What's your favorite food?
Let's stick with an easy one. Pizza. It's actually is it pizza or no? What is it? I mean, obviously steak. Can't go against steak. Like a nice fillet is actually. We'll pick that one first instead of pizza.
Okay, so we're gonna do pizza. We're gonna do steak. You only get one choice.
Let's go steak. Let's go. Steak is good. With red wine. You need red wine with it though. You need red wine.
See, I'm like, if I have pizza, I have to have a Pepsi. If I have a steak, I have to have wine. Like there's certain foods I'm like, this drink has to go with that food. So what is your favorite time of day?
Favorite time of day?
What's your favorite time of the day?
I'd have to say afternoon. Still bright. It's usually the weather's the best at that time. The afternoon.
I do too. I like afternoons and evenings, and almost everyone's like, oh, I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's like, why?
Right.
That's
right.
I'm like you. That's why afternoon, evening is like, I don't know, the day's nice. It's not so, it's nice outside. It's like
it's light out, right? It's light
out. It's daylight. Yeah, no, I'm like that too. I know so many people that get up before the sun comes up to exercise. I'm like, but why? I guess as a professional athlete, you probably did that. Maybe you still do that, but I have people like, oh, I'm in the gym every day at 5. And I'm like, why? Like, really, why? Like, let the sun come up, enjoy your day, go outside in the afternoon, go for a walk, go hiking.
That's right.
Go on the boat. So I don't get it. I know most of the people, 90% of the people are say mornings. And then when I meet someone, it's like afternoon, evening. I'm like, oh, there we go. Afternoon, evening. Those are my people.
That's right.
So I'm the same way. And I got up early. My kids are in school. I was up every day at 6, but I still like it later. Afternoons are really nice.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a good day going, it's like, oh, so nice. So just tell us one more time, how does everybody reach you?
So you can either jump on our website at REVA Global, REVA Global.com. You could send me an email at bob@revaglobal.com, or you can find us on, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc.
Okay, I love it. So first of all, I want to thank you. I have a couple more things. So I took notes. So I always write down things, and then I kind of do a recap. So you can tell me if we were able to get inside the mind of Bob LaChance today. So I just try to, I really love people, and I love asking people questions and getting to know people. And that's why I ask questions about music and stuff. You can tell a lot about people by what they eat, their music, there's a lot. So I'm interested in like stuff like that. So first of all, Bob LaChance, it's bob at REVA global.com. It's real estate virtual assistant. You have a company that does VAs. You do real estate deals virtually. You did 160 deals last year, and you played professional hockey for a while. I think you said you quit in 2004?
Yeah, I retired in the end of
Retired. You
2004.
retired in 2004. Because I wrote down 2004, but then I didn't write anything next to it. So I'm like, I don't know. I wrote that date down for something.
That's when I started real estate. That's when I started real
That's
estate.
when you started real estate.
Start.
Okay. I put down 2004 and then I didn't put a word after. So I'm like, I don't know why I wrote that down. How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. I have to know that too. Okay. That part of my summary. Okay. So 48, have 3 kids. That's awesome. You do virtual assisting for real estate and for medical. You use folks in the Philippines. For a while, you were like buying and holding, and then you decide, hey, we're going to sell some of that, get a bunch of cash, and we're going to like do some other things, which was a good move. You were the youngest of 3 boys. Your dad was a contractor. So you driving at 14, totally. I lived in the country. So we drove early just because we lived in the country. Were you living in Connecticut and driving at 14?
Yep.
Goodness. Oh, we were on the country roads. I don't know if I could have done it on the highway. It's like, good Lord. Like, good for you. So you were the gopher for your dad. You were always into sports and then ended up becoming a professional hockey player. And congratulations for that. Because to be a professional at any kind of sport, you really have to be good and you really have to be a cut above the others. And that's not something that comes without a lot of hard work. So I thank you and honor you for that, because you had to really put in a lot to be able to do that. And I'm happy that you raise your kids in sports too, because sports keeps kids out of trouble. And so you went from sports to real estate, but your kind of mindset change was actually watching your parents go through not working, having a job, your mom becoming a breadwinner, and thinking in their mind, like, I don't want that to ever happen to me. So that was sort of what planted that seed that later turned into REVAglobal.com. You have a podcast called Pucks to Properties. Super great title. Pucks to Properties. Great title. One actionable tip is I put hockey to real estate. So you went from hockey to real estate. So remind me what the actionable tip was.
Actionable tip was, if someone without a 4-year college degree could make money and be successful in real estate, anybody in this world can. Yeah, you need a little work ethic and motivation. That's it.
I'm with you, because I wrote down the hockey and then you went into real estate. But that's right, the 4-year degree, because you were 2 credits short of a 4-year degree. But I'm with you on that too. It's like, we don't need a college education to be successful. College, right now, anything you want to learn is on the internet anyway. I mean, unless you want to be like a surgeon, or some things you probably need college for. But and you're like Luke Combs, love country, you love steak, you like the afternoons. And people can reach you at REVAglobal.com or Bob at REVAglobal.com. You're on Facebook and Instagram, and you're all over the place. So is that like a little bit about you?
Perfect. You nailed it.
Is that a good short? It's a short summary, but
it's like our real estate company is Perch Rock Management. So if you want to check us out there, you can check us out online as well.
Okay,
PerchRockManagement.com. Yeah, so you can check us out if you guys want.
Okay, because I like all your stuff to be in the show notes, a bunch of times.
Cool.
Because some people just want to skip to the notes and click your links and stuff. So I want to make sure that you're in there. So I have one more thing for you. So let me just do my short wrap up here. So if you guys are new to Dwanderful, I'm Dwan Twyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor. My website is Dwanderful.com. So DWANDERFUL. I combined Dwan and wonderful and made a new word. So Dwanderful.com, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, like every place. If you opt in at my website, I have 4 free ebooks for you. So do that. And then hit Bob up at bob@REVAglobal.com. Also follow him across the social media. And I always want to ask you to do me a favor. And, I do podcasts, Bob does podcasts, and podcasts are a lot of work. They are a lot, with getting guests and getting good people and people that know what they're talking about and just all the things. So for us to do this, my favor is for you to subscribe, to follow, and to write a 5-star review. So if you write a 5-star review on the days when I'm podcasting just myself and talking to you, just me and you, I always read a couple reviews. So if you ever want to have the chance to have your review read, you have to leave one. And I'm almost at 2,000 5-star reviews. So y'all need to get up there so I can crack 2,000, because that's my goal. So, I'm almost at 2,000. So, and I see other people, they got 100,000 5-star reviews. It's like, well, okay, 2,000 is my next goal. So y'all got to help me get there. And also subscribe to his podcast and follow him on all the social medias. because real estate investing is a team sport. And I'm really happy, Bob, that you agree on that with me. And you cannot do it by yourself. So you need to learn from multiple people. And I always tell you, like, listen, you did a million webinars. There's a million people that invest in real estate. There's a lot of people that do what it is that Bob and I do. So check out different people, get on different webinars, read what people have. And when you find someone, you feel like, hey, my moral compass aligns with this person, that's a person that you should work with. And it's okay to work with more than one person. Just don't be like, taking a piece of this and a piece of that and trying to reinvent the wheel, because the real estate wheel is completely and totally invented, right? Because people are like, oh, I listened to this and this, and I'm going to put this together, I'm going to do my own thing. It's like, no, there's too many people out there to help you. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, so Bob, give us a parting word of wisdom, and it's just a single word.
Single word? You probably heard this one before. Action.
I don't know if I have or not. Action is a good word, though. So, guys, action is the word of the week. Now, when you say action, just give us a brief. What does the word action mean to you? I
just mean no matter what you do in life, you got to take action, because a lot of people sit on the sidelines. They're sitting on the fence. They're not going forward. They don't know what they're going to do. They're just stuck. You got to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward one step at a time. If you want to lose weight, what do? You move your feet, right? You got to move forward. You got to keep going. So that's what I mean by taking action, especially if you're thinking about jumping into real estate. Best industry, for long-term wealth. If you look at a lot of different families out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, how many people have you met at a workshop and 2 years later they're still going to workshops? It's like, when are you going to take action? Like, you got to do something. Otherwise, you're going to be like a seminar junkie for your whole life.
Agreed.
Well, good. I like action. I always like to know what the word means to people, because when you said action, that's what I was thinking. Like, get off the sidelines and get in there and play the game. Whatever game it is, just get into something. Like, stop watching. All right, guys. So we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember that the truth is in the red letters. All right, everybody. Ciao. And thank you, Bob, for being on. Don't go away. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.